find information. You need to go to your district website and see if they have anything like what Jackson Heights County School Systems has. The school board policies should be printed online in your bigger districts. The smaller may not. If your school board is a member of the Tennessee School Board Association, TSBA, I guess, if they're a member of that, then they have gotten together and kind of written the policies the same. They'll tweak things on it, and it'll look like this. The policy that you'll see may not be the same setup here. It may actually just have your district name right there. And you'll be able to find the policies. Now I'm going to point to, it's going to look like this. The numbers are going to be the same, okay? And you can read the policies. Now this is going to be part of that qualitative analysis. There's no numbers here, okay? There's not any numbers. But you're looking out there for some research that says, how's my district doing? What am I supposed to do in my classroom? Okay, you can even search stuff, like if I want to search for something on this, that's where I'm at top. That's better. Okay, there's our code of behavior and discipline for students. Alright, now yours should look very similar to that. It's even have the same formula if your system prints this and it's part of the DSBA. Okay? So you can read about how your stuff now. From my experience of reading about these discipline policies, they're very solid, and they read such that we would either have high suspension rates because we're addressing the issues that are right in front of us, or we'd have low suspension rates because policies are so effective that they deter students from doing things. I don't know. But I think where we see a difference, and this is where you have to be at the school level, is in the practice. Okay, so that's where action research comes in. You're not just stopping at the numbers, stopping at what's printed. You're going out there and you're having conversations with people in your school and professional conversations. Not, as Dr. Newman told me, you're not trying to be obnoxious. You're not trying to go out there and get on people's nerves. But you're trying to investigate situations. You've got that researcher's mentality, researcher's mind. And you want to push things forward so that you can make your classroom become a better environment, and you want your school to be a better environment, your district obviously as well, okay? So you got school board policies online, you can read about them, and when I read the policies in Jackson Heights County schools, they're very solid. And I think where we end up getting discrepancies, y'all, we're looking around and seeing different suspension rates, I heard you talking about that. Where we get different suspension rates is just in the practices. Maybe practices are not consistent, not the same. They don't need to be necessarily, because every school is a different culture, different situation. What works in one place may not work in another, but we're smart people. We talk to our friends who teach at other schools, and we listen. And to be able to find out what would be effective. Okay, so as far as going into the classroom and what would affect you now as we move forward, and you being an action researcher, 10core.org is going to be an excellent resource for you guys. If you are not using this right now, you should be. So secondary folks, this is going to be a big friend of yours this year and as we go into next. But elementary folks, you've already made the transition, and this should be some way that you've already visited on a regular basis, at least in some trainings. I don't know. How familiar are you with the site? Those of you at elementary school level shaking your head going, yeah, we've been there. We've seen this stuff. Secondary folks, we haven't had to do it. We're going to have to start thinking about it this year and transition to it full blown next year. But what's really great, if you got some questions, just see what the FAQs are, frequently asked already. And this will probably stem some ideas from you, okay? And more than anything, this is a source of information about what you are going to be expected to do with Common Core what tests are gonna be about, and you can even see there what data will be collected on students, okay? So if you're wondering what's gonna change and how things are gonna go, you can go there and find it for your subject area, okay? So for me, mathematics assessment, you know, I'd like to know, what's my testing information? You know, what are my students gonna be having to do? This CRA, man, I've never heard of CRA, and my principal comes and said, hey, we're gonna have a CRA in September. I'm like, what? It's a CRA? I got my answer right here, CRA. Constructed response assessment. All right, great. What's PARC? You know, PARC, what does that mean? You know, you got all that information here, and it's updated on a regular basis, okay? Now, if you forget 10core.org, you can still get to it from the Tennessee State Department of Ed website. All right, it's going to be one of the links that comes when you're dealing with teachers and administrators, educator resources. You kind of poking around here, and there it is right there, helpful websites, 10core. All right.
If you Google Common Core Standards Tennessee, it's the first one that comes up.
Okay, yeah, easy like that. See, I've got a colleague in my building who uses websites. I use emails that have been sent to me as my source of information. If somebody sent me an email and said, you know, check out this website, I just say the email and I'll search through my inbox for a keyword and I'll find that email. Or I'll remember the person that sent it to me and I'll search them and find that message. But, you know, so some people are Google, some people are, hey, let me go to the site and search the site. Really doesn't matter. Just get to it, okay? But you got it there, you got 10 courses. These are great data collection resources. Now remember, data doesn't have to be numbers. It can be that qualitative side where you're reading about things and you're trying to get a bigger picture of what's going on, okay? So there's another resource for you. Okay, so starting here leads you to other things, okay? The final source we've already talked about, the final source I want to share with you, we've already talked about, TBOS, okay? TBOS is a wonderful source for you to find data, okay? If you want to do some action research in your classroom, use TBOS, okay? All right. Is there anything that you use on a regular basis to help you get a picture of how things need to go in your classroom? I'm not talking about instructional resources, but things that you would go out to get some information to help you put things into context. Any places that you go on a regular basis?
Something that's helped me with the Common Core state standards, I had a project for my practicum this past year, and I found it's through North Carolina. I think I Googled
Okay, yeah.
North Carolina. I think if you Google Common Core state standards pacing, what's that called? Pacing guide. They have something on their website. Okay, it's the BCS1. Mm-hmm. And kind of scroll down, and you'll see that it has that, but what's so good, click on one of the unpacking documents. Scrolling down, because none of us teach kindergarten or first grade.
Okay, let's go like 5th grade.
Fifth grade works.
5th grade.
And you see that they have it for all the subjects that we're going to be responsible for in Common Core. What I really liked on this is that it showed the knowledge, like what do they have to, because sometimes I look at the Common Core standards and I'm like, okay, that's great, but what does it mean? And it said the knowledge, it said what skills, what does this look like, and any additional skills. And then it stated the standard, and some of them they even had resources on. And for me, this was a huge help. And I think it went, I don't know how far up it went, but North Carolina's done a really good job of
Steal, right? Borrow.
It's been pretty great. But
That's great.
if you just Google Common Core State Standard Pacing Guide, and it's the BCS. And there's one more thing that I found. Go back real quick.
Okay. On this site or like?
Yeah, hold, click on a pacing guide,
Okay, we'll stick with that.
if you don't mind. Okay,
It's
that's
got
the
lots
one
of
that, oh, that's the
resources.
one that I really like too. It even had like, because on my, lesson plans that we have to turn in for our observations, we have to include an essential question and all
Oh,
that
yeah,
type
that's
stuff.
nice. And that's
I
really
can't, I don't remember where I found it.
Okay.
It's something along the same lines though, that it's set up almost like our live text documents are, in that it has bukus of resources for every single
Bukus.
standard. I mean, it really does, and it has it divided up into like fourth grade English and fourth.
Quantify that, how many is Bukus?
A lot on the standard.
Somewhere close to a bajillion.
Reminds me of that
remember where I
commercial
found
for
that.
AT&T where the guy gets with the kids.